Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd. Fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My dear sweet Islamic brothers and sisters and viewers of social media, let's recite Durood Pak upon the beloved and blessed Prophet Sallallahu Ta'ala ala Muhammad. If you recite after me, As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Habiballah. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. Excuse me. Excellence of reciting Durood Pak upon the beloved and blessed Prophet Sallallahu Ta'ala ala Muhammad, the Prophet of mankind, the peace of our hearts and mind, the most generous and kind, Sallallahu Ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, has said, whoever recites salat upon me 1,000 times daily shall not die until he sees his placement in paradise. Sallu ala al-Habib Sallallahu Ta'ala ala Muhammad Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, by the fadl of Allah, by the mercy of Allah, I have another opportunity to deliver a small dars from Fazan Sunnat. Today's topic, inshaAllah Azza wa Jal, will be regarding Itikaf for Islamic sisters. So let's listen, inshaAllah, and gain knowledge and try to protect our Itikaf, inshaAllah. Islamic sisters can perform Itikaf in Masjid-e-Bayt only, not in the masjid. The Masjid-e-Bayt is a portion of the house a woman specifies for Salah. It is mustahab for Islamic sisters to specify a particular area of their homes for offering Salah and to keep it clean and pure. It is better that this area be a little raised like a terrace. Islamic brothers should also specify a particular area or a particular place in their homes for offering their nafil salah, as it is better to offer nafil salah at home. The first one we've looked at is to designate a clean area. Okay, sometimes we have areas that we walk past, we walk on a daily basis. Try not to select these kind of areas. Try to select a small room and just leave that for the place of worship, inshaAllah. If an Islamic sister has not specified a particular place in her home for Salah, then she cannot perform Itikaf. However, if she specifies a place for Salah at the time of intending to do Itikaf, she can do it within that specified area. An Islamic sister cannot do Itikaf in someone else's home. Okay, as you know, going into other people's houses, this is ghair mahrim, cannot see a ghair mahrim brother or sister. So even relatives, we should be careful in going to relatives' houses and doing Itikaf there. It is not permissible for a wife to do Itikaf without her husband's permission. If the wife have started Itikaf with her husband's permission, but the husband wants to prevent her later on during Itikaf, he cannot do so. If he does, it is not wajib for a wife to obey him. It is also a prerequisite for Islamic sisters not to be experiencing menses or postnatal bleeding, because it is haram to offer salah, fast, and reciting the glorious Quran in this state. The maximum period of postnatal bleeding is 40 days and 40 nights. If the bleeding continues even after 40 days and nights, it indicates an illness. Therefore, Islamic sisters should take a ritual bath and start offering salah and fasting. A common misconception amongst Islamic sisters is that they assume that postnatal bleeding period is always 40 days, whereas this is not correct. The Sharia ruling is that even if the bleeding stops within a single day, or even if it stops immediately after the delivery, or postnatal bleeding will be considered to have ended in this case, and those Islamic sisters should perform ghusl and then start this salah and fast. The minimum period for menses is 3 days and nights, while its maximum period is 10 days and nights. As soon as the bleeding stops after 3 days and nights, Islamic sisters should do ghusl instantly and start offering salah and keep fast. If the bleeding continues even after 10 days and nights, it is an illness. Therefore, as soon as 10 days and nights pass, Islamic sisters should do ghusl and start offering salah and start fasting. If a woman experiences her menses during itikaf, her itikaf will become invalid in this case. It is wajib for her to make up for the only day that her itikaf became invalid. It is not permissible to leave the place of itikaf without a shari needs. Islamic sisters cannot go to any other portion of the house either. Itikaf will become invalid if they do so. The ruling which applies to Islamic brothers regarding leaving the place of itikaf also applies to Islamic sisters as well. In other words, Islamic sisters can leave the place of itikaf for the same needs for which Islamic brothers are allowed to come out of the masjid. Likewise, they are not allowed to leave the place of itikaf for the acts that men aren't allowed to leave the masjid for. During itikaf, Islamic sisters can sew and knit staying in their place of itikaf. They can also instruct others to do the household chores, but they cannot leave the place of itikaf. During itikaf, it's better to focus completely on the recitation of the glorious Quran, zikr, salatul nabi, tasbihat, religious studies, listening to cassettes of sunnah's bayans and sunnah inspiring speeches, and other acts of worship. Avoid spending time in other activities unnecessarily. Inshallah, we're just going to learn the method on how to do the qada of itikaf. Dear Islamic brothers and sisters, if you started itikaf for the last 10 days of Ramadan, but it became invalid for some reason, you do not have to make up for all the 10 days. Instead, you only have to make up for it the only day of that itikaf that has been missed, meaning itikaf became invalid. If the days of Ramadan are still left, you can make up for it in the remaining days of Ramadan. If Ramadan has ended, you have to make up for it another day with the fast, except the days of Eid al-Fitr and from the 10th to 13th of Zulhijjah, because fasting in these days is makruh tahrimi. The method of qada is to enter the masjid any day at sunset. It is safer to enter a few minutes before the sunset with the intention of making up for the broken itikaf or invalidated itikaf, and remain there until the sunset of the next day. Fasting is a condition for this qada. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept what has been heard and give us the ability to pass on what has been heard. And if I made any mistakes in my small dars, in my speech, I ask forgiveness from Allah Azza wa Jal, and give me more enthusiasticness to deliver more and more dars-e Fazan Sunnat. Keep watching Madani channel, Sky 746. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam.